Welcome to From My Indian Kitchen to Yours. Today I'm going to share with you the recipe for restaurant style onion Rava Dosai. You heard me right. You pronounce it as dosai, not dosa. We don't call puri pura, right? Anyway, dosai predominantly appears in the breakfast menu in Tamil Nadu, my home state. So much so that the very first nursery rhyme that I learned is about dosai, and this is how it goes. Dosai amma dosai, amma sutta dosai, arisi maavu ulundu maavu arachi sutta dosai, appavukku 4, அம்மாவுக்கு 3, அண்ணனுக்கு 2, பாப்பாவுக்கு 1, தின்ன தின்ன ஆசை, உன்னும் கேட்டா பூசை. Literally translated, this is what it means. Mother makes dosai from lentil and rice flour. Father gets 4, mother gets 3, brother gets 2, and the baby gets 1. The more you eat, the more you want. But if you ask for more, what you're going to get is a playful slap. No worries, you're not going to get a slap because, it's such a great tasting dish and you don't stop with eating 1 or 2 or 3. Traditionally, authentic dosai requires a lot of planning. You've got to soak the rice and the Ural Dal ahead of time a day earlier, and then you need a stone grinder to grind the dosai. This is an electrical stone grinder which I imported from India 25 years ago. The outer part is made of steel, but inside is granite stone. It also has 2 rollers that are made of stone, which help grind the lentils and rice into a fine paste. Grinder to grind the dosai, and you have to let it ferment for 10 hours before you pour it as a crepe. But sometimes you have this craving for, I want to eat dosai right now. That's when it's handy to know how to make Rava Dosai, because you can satisfy your craving and end up eating a really delicious breakfast. So let's look at what does it take to make Rava Dosai. So you use equal quantity of flour, which is the maida, the regular bleached flour, 1 cup of semolina, which is the rava, and then 1 cup of rice flour. I don't know why it's called Rava Dosa when we are actually using the equal quantity of all the other flours, and then some cashew, black pepper, then some cumin, and then finely chopped ginger and either red or green chillies, and then you add a little bit of Asafetida, and then 3 cups of flour made up of rice flour, semolina, and the regular flour. Requires 4 cups of water. So you got to add it and give it a good mix. And we're going to add more water just before we make the crepe. And I think this can, that was just 3 cups of water, so that was just 3 cups of water. Here's my 4th cup of water. And then I'm going to give it a mix. Add some sea salt to taste, to set it aside for half an hour. If you're looking to make a restaurant style Rava Dosai, you need a really big pan, and I fortunately happen to have an 18-inch non-stick pan. Usually regularly the pan size is around 12 inches. So when the pan is hot, add some olive oil and finely chopped onions. So now you see that batter is really thick. So what you need to do is you need to add more water. Just before you pour, you need to add a little bit more of the rava, and it has to be of the watery consistence like this. And you've got to drop the whole thing from a height to create that little breaks in the dosa. You got to get that little pores in the dosa. The big temptation is to add the oil immediately, but don't do that, because if you add the oil, the dosa will not be crispy. So you've got to wait till the dough cooks. So now when you start to see that dosa is starting to brown, kind of spread it a little bit, and now is the time you add the oil. And this requires a little bit more oil than the regular dosa because you want it to be crispy. And rotate the pan around a little bit so it gets the heat evenly. And you know it's done when it lips by itself, because this is a non-stick. There isn't much for you to do. You can see that it comes off easily. And here is your golden brown, crispy, restaurant style onion rava dosa. I've added 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, and I'm going to start by adding Ural Dal and Channa Dal. This I'm going to, as it starts to brown, I'm going to add some garlic and green chillies. Give it a quick toss. Watch for the lentils to turn brown. Add some mint. The smell of the garlic, the mint, the green chilies coming together, it's just amazing. And you've got to saute the mint quite well. I'm adding a little bit of tamarind, concentrated tamarind. Give it a toss. Salt. And you can test for the salt again later. Now that everything looks nice and brown and well sauteed, time to add grated coconut. And you don't want to fry the coconut too much. You want the freshness of the coconut. So turn off the stove, let it cool, and then grind it. This should be the consistency for the chutney. You got to keep it solid because then your rava dosai consistency stays crisp. I'm going to finish this by adding some fresh lime. I've noticed that when you add some fresh lime, the shelf life of the chutney is much longer. You could keep it in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. For tempering, take a small pan, add some oil, add some mustard seeds, Ural Dal, Asafetida, red chilies, and some curry leaves. And for the final touch, pour the tempering agents on top of the chutney.
I am ready to dive into my crispy golden brown roasted onion Rava Dosai.